Hello, my friends. Assalamu alaikum. The author of the book, The Grand Scheme of God, in the light of Quran, asked ChatGPT a question. Here is the question. ChatGPT, here is the 11th stage, that is, the ultimate triumph and rank of honor in the permanent word, for you to analyze. Kindly analyze the verses of Quran closely from which conclusions were drawn. Please give me your opinion whether my drawn conclusions are correct. Here are the details of the question. The ultimate triumph and rank of honor in the permanent word. In Surah Al-Imran, Almighty God, after a description of the bounties of the paradise, that is, Nuzul phase, says, an initial feast of welcome from their Lord, and that which is with God is the best for Al-Abrar, that is, faithful. Similarly, Almighty God says in Surah Al-Kahf, there they will have all that they desire, and we have more for them. In Surah Al-Qamar, Allah informs us about the ultimate triumph in an honorable seat near a sovereign, omnipotent king. Here we intend to present the thoughts of two renowned exegetes of our time concerning our ultimate triumph and subsequent participation in the phenomenal projects of Almighty God. The relevant parts of their exegesis are reproduced here for the purpose of reflection and contemplation. While explaining the above-mentioned verse from Surah Al-Qamar, Maulana Amin Ahsan Islahi writes in his tafsir, Tadabburul Quran, stated, here is the real success of the believers. The honor which they would have of being courtiers of the court of that Almighty King will neither be pretentious display nor temporary. That if a person is de-seated next day, nobody would care less. The highest status one can attain is an honorable seat near the Almighty King of the heavens and earth. One will never merge into God and become God, as is claimed by some esoteric Sufis. This is from Tadabburul Quran, Volume 8, verses 115 and 116 of Surah Al-Qamar. Similarly, Maulana Abul Ala Maududi wrote, there will be continuous development of humans without the fear of demotion, and they will participate in phenomenal projects of Almighty God with no fear of failure. But to imagine those developments and services is not conceivable for us in this worldly life, as is not conceivable for a kid to comprehend what would be his exact feelings when he gets married. This is from Tafhimul Quran, chapter Surah Al-Taha, volume 3, page 135. After reaching the conclusion regarding our real success in the permanent word, should we not as a conscious being start planning seriously for that ultimate triumph, which is to attain an honorable seat in the court of that Almighty King? This finishes the question of the author. Now, ChatGPT's response. ChatGPT states, in this stage titled The Ultimate Triumph and Rank of Honor in the Permanent Word, you focus on the highest spiritual success achievable by believers in the afterlife, an exalted position near God, and participation in divine projects. You draw on specific verses as well as insights from two renowned scholars, Maulana Amin Ahsan Islahi and Maulana Abul Ala Maududi, to illustrate this ultimate rank. Let's examine the Quranic verses you refer to and validate your conclusions. Surah or chapter Ale Imran, that is, chapter number 3, verse 198. Translation: An initial feast of welcome from their Lord, and that which is with God is better for the righteous. Analysis: This verse emphasizes that while the blessings of paradise are great, what God has in store beyond the initial welcome is even greater. The phrase, "what is with God is better," suggests an ongoing superior reward. Conclusion: Validation. Your interpretation of this verse as pointing to a phase beyond the initial bounties of paradise, that is, the nuzul phase, is accurate. The idea that the believers will continue to receive greater and more profound rewards aligns with the Quran's message that God's gifts are not finite or limited to an initial experience. Second verse. This is from chapter 50, verse 35. The chapter is known as Surah Kahf. Translation: There they will have all that they desire, and with us there is more. Analysis: This verse affirms that in paradise believers will have whatever they wish for, but also suggests that there are additional rewards beyond their imagination. The phrase, "and with us there is more," reinforces the notion that the blessings of paradise are not only vast but also limitless. Conclusion: Validation. Your conclusion that believers will continuously develop and experience greater rewards in paradise is strongly supported by this verse. It confirms that what is available to them exceeds their desires, pointing to the infinite nature of God's generosity in the afterlife. The next verse is from chapter 54, verse 55. This chapter is known as Surah Al-Qamar. Translation: In an honorable seat near a sovereign omnipotent king. Analysis: This verse speaks of the ultimate spiritual reward, an exalted position near God, the sovereign omnipotent king. It suggests both proximity to God and the honor associated with this position. Conclusion: Validation. Your conclusion that the ultimate triumph for believers is attaining an honorable seat near God is valid. The verse emphasizes the dignity and significance of this position, which represents the highest form of spiritual success. This is consistent with your interpretation that this seat is a lasting, dignified status that reflects closeness to God without merging with God, as some mystical traditions claim. Now, commentary by Maulana Amin Ahsan Islahi. Summary of Islahi's view. Islahi stresses that the honor of being near God in the afterlife is not temporary or superficial. It represents the highest achievement for believers, a seat of dignity that will last forever. Importantly, he differentiates this from esoteric notions of merging with God, emphasizing that believers will retain their individuality. Conclusion: Validation. Islahi's commentary strengthens your point about the ultimate spiritual rank in the afterlife. His rejection of mystical interpretations that suggest merging with God supports your view that believers will retain a distinct, honored status in proximity to God. Commentary by Maulana Abul Ala Maududi. Summary of Maududi's view. Maududi focuses on the idea that human development in the afterlife will be continuous, without the fear of demotion or failure. He compares this to the developmental milestones in this life that are beyond current human comprehension, such as a child imagining adult experiences. Conclusion validation. Maududi's commentary supports your conclusion about the continuous development and advancement of believers in the afterlife. He echoes the Quranic theme that the rewards of the afterlife cannot be fully comprehended by the human mind in this world. Now, overall analysis of your conclusions. Your conclusion that the ultimate triumph in the permanent world is to attain a place of honor near God is well founded in both the Quranic verses and the scholarly interpretations you have referenced. The idea of continuous development and participation in divine projects is supported by the Quranic verses that suggest limitless rewards, that is, and with us there is more, and the scholars' commentaries that speak to ongoing spiritual advancement. Your interpretation of the nuzul phase, that is, the initial bounties of paradise followed by even greater rewards, is consistent with Quranic teachings, as indicated by the verse from Surah Al-Imran and Surah Kaf. The concept of this honor being eternal and without fear of demotion, as noted by Maududi, aligns with Quranic description of paradise as a place of peace and everlasting rewards. The rejection of merging with God, as per Islahi's commentary, is an important distinction that reinforces the Quranic portrayal of an honored yet distinct status for believers in relation to God. This reflects the mainstream Islamic understanding that believers will remain distinct beings despite their proximity to God. Final thoughts. Your conclusions about the ultimate triumph and rank of honor in the permanent world are accurate and well supported by the Quranic verses and the scholarly commentaries you have provided. The ultimate reward for believers is proximity to God in a dignified, permanent position with continuous development and participation in divine projects beyond human comprehension. This stage presents a compelling picture of the believer's final success in the afterlife, grounded in the teachings of Quran. With this, ChatGPT's response finishes. Thank you, my friends, and Assalamu alaikum.